Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to the Not So Daily Show. The show comes to you daily, except when it doesn't. I'm your host, themba. On today's show, the president is still ducking and diving.
At the moment, it's quite safe here. Check it.
It's the Oscars of corruption at the Zuma trial.
So strong, Chief. My start to change.
And Kaizer Chiefs is on the hunt for a new coach.
What is your reaction to the news of Kaizer Chiefs changing Gavin Hunt?
I'm not surprised. Same as Coach Leambi, similar like him.
We've got a great show lined up. Stick around. So let's begin with the biggest story from last week. The health minister Zweli Mkhize and digital vibes. And surprisingly, the weirdest thing about that story is not the name of the company.
The Daily Maverick reporting that close associates of Health Minister Zweli Mkhize have pocketed about 90 million rand in suspicious payments. This originates from 150 million rand COVID-19 and National Health Insurance Communications contract.
Besides there being numerous photos of Health Minister Zweli Mkhize and his former associates looking all cozy, he has denied their friendship stronger than St. Peter denied Jesus Christ.
I'm also aware that the key narrative that has been that this contract was awarded to my associates, and thus inferring that I may have used influence in the awarding of this contract to this said company. I also do not regard any of these individuals whose names have been mentioned publicly as personal friends. But they are certainly my comrades.
However, new evidence has emerged that might prove that Minister Zweli Mkhize and his family have indeed benefited from the contract with Digital Vibes.
The latest allegation is that Digital Vibes bought a Land Cruiser for Mkhize's son.
We've seen additional allegations emerge about a family trust benefiting from some of these funds, a company that's controlled by his son receiving funds.
So the president was asked about this whole Digital Vibes dilemma during his press conference with French President Emmanuel Macron. He said that he's going to wait for the SIU to investigate. A completely different tone from the whole ex-Magashule must step aside to save the party reputational damage.
So I'm waiting for the SIU to finish their own report. There's been a preliminary investigation at the departmental level, and the minister has briefed me, and I'm now waiting to see how the SIU will conclude on this matter. I had a discussion with the minister, and he is cooperating fully and completely on this matter. And what I can say to South Africans is that I'm dealing with this matter.
So for me, finding out that Zweli Mkhize is corrupt was like finding out Barney Stinson was gay. I mean, in 2021, you shouldn't be surprised, but this man literally built his reputation on the straight and narrow. Were you shocked?
Bruv, I was so shocked. And it's interesting. I think it was also a bit of an eye-opener because he's been like our knight in shining armor this past year, right? We've been looking at him as sort of our hero, the guy who's going to lead us through this thing. Obviously, the president is sort of the guy but Zweli was the more informed, because he's a doctor, right? He's the health minister.
Exactly, bro.
So when I heard about all this stuff, it was like, damn. But at the same time, it's not surprising because at the end of the day, he's a politician.
He's a politician.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, that doctor title. I mean, we should have learned our lesson after Dr. Tumi, but we just keep falling for it. But hey, Zweli Mkhize, bro, like, people can't believe it. And it's not the first scandal he has, but like, people always gave him the benefit of the doubt. But with this one, it's just so crazy because there are photos of him and these two ladies working together, smiling together. And now the article from the Daily Maverick has come out saying that Digital Vibes, before getting this big amount of almost 150 million divided into parts, the only other amount of money they'd had deposited into their account was from another government tender, not from the health ministry though, from Kokta, which was led by Zweli Mkhize at the time. I'm like, bro, even if we believe in coincidences,
you know what I mean?
Come
on, bro. No, but it goes to show for me how desperate we are as a country to have leaders that we believe in and trust in, because we even if there are signs of foul play or whatever, or corruption. We
try.
We try, you know, we trust and we hold on
Yeah.
until the evidence is just too hard to ignore.
So now people are saying he must step aside, but because it's part of the Ramaphosa faction and they are looking like the knight in shining armors, like you said, you know, it seems like it's going to be a much like longer debate about him stepping aside. But for me, it's exactly as Magashule. It's oversight. He's saying that I didn't see it happen. Magashule says I didn't see it happen. Magashule was the premier, which is high level. He's the minister. So it's like, it's a similar oversight type thing. So, hey, it's gonna...
It's like, for me, it's just, they have plausible deniability, but I think the evidence points to them knowing, or at least, definitely knowing at the very least.
At the very least.
And at the worst, directly being involved in. Do you know what I mean?
But now the evidence says that they paid a company 300,000 rand, and the company is owned by one of Mkhize's sons, or Mkhize's son. They also helped pay renovations for a property that's owned by the Zweli Mkhize Trust. So the evidence is just showing, and he's saying they're not even my friends. I was like, okay, it's a tough one. So I was also shocked about Zweli Mkhize being corrupt. God was Zizi.
Evidence and financial data that we reviewed shows that over the period May 2015 to February 2016, Zizi Kodwa, who I understand was the ANC spokesman at the time, Chair, received direct payments as well as luxury accommodation with a combined value of more than 2 million rand.
Now, Zizi Kodwa was the spokesperson of the ANC, and then he was fingered by Edwin Sodi. When Edwin Sodi was at the commission, he said he's paid Zizi a lot of money. Now they're saying that Zizi has made a lot of money from this EOH deal. But I did say, when the ANC step aside policy came through, it's only a matter of time until there are no more members in the ANC, because nobody's clean, bro. And that other minister once said, we all have our smallanyana skeletons.
Because if one starts throwing hanging dirty linen outside, the others are going to say, you too have done this and this and that. Because all of us there in the NEC have our smallanyana skeletons, and we don't want to take out all skeletons out, because they will be, or hell will break loose.
We thought it was funny, but I think she was telling us, she was being very direct.
That you all have our smallanyana skeletons. But
even these guys that you see,
exactly,
they also have. But I think it's been quite obvious.
Yeah, it's been quite obvious. And it's all politicians.
Exactly.
That's why it's like people are like, who do you vote for? Do we just not vote because nobody is safe? I mean, I remember the Trevor Noah during Day Walker made a joke about the DA saying, you need to investigate the Guptas, you need to investigate the ANC and the Guptas. And then when they looked, they realized the Guptas were even giving the DA money. So it's like, there's one of skeletons are all over.
They're all over.
Yeah.
It feels like the moment you get into politics, or rather the only way into politics is to somehow be involved in stuff because, and it makes sense because the people in power will sort of make sure that you coming into power, they can control you in some way.
In some way, exactly.
So they'll get you involved in things, or they'll just make sure they have some kind of dirt on you or something.
Exactly.
And if you're too clean, they probably won't trust you enough to bring you into the inner circles.
Yeah, but that being said, there's still levels to this game. The Zuma trial, so a star-studded lineup of corruption-accused politicians, from Zuma and Zuma Jr., aka Duduzane, to Ace Magashule, Malusi Gigawa, and many more.
Mr. Zuma Jr., just the essence, how do you feel about the readiness of your father's case and knowing that he's represented by senior counsel advocate Dalim Mpofu at this point?
A lot of the media to Duduzane, not Mr. Zuma Jr., number one. Number two, whatever his decision is, his game plan, he has to stick with it, and all the best to them, whichever legal representation he uses.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacob Zuma Jr., the son of former President Jacob Zuma.
Zuma has been on trial for the arms deal since, I think, 2000 or the late 90s.
Okay, this makes sense because I read an article that was like Zuma's decades-long trial. And in the beginning, I was confused because it was like decades, because I thought it was late 2000s.
Yeah, it's been. Shabir Sheikh got convicted for it. went to jail, came out from what do you call
Sickness
it, for
thing.
health reasons, and has lived a long life. Zuma even became president, came out of being president while from when it started. But as Zuma describes it, leqala liyahamba libuye, lihambe libuye, liqede lihambe.
Leli cala eselake lahamba laphinde labuya, laphinde lahamba laphinde labuya. Sacabanga ukuba selihamba unomphela, laphinda labuya. Leli cala alikwazi ukuqhubeka kukhona lo mshushisi okuyena oluholayo, ngoba wenze inkohlakalo eziningi waphula nemithetho ngoba efuna ukuthi akabophele insizwe.
But isn't it funny how Zuma always has the same approach to all these like cases? The magistrate or the judge is compromised. I am fine, but the judge, there's something wrong with the judge.
But it makes sense, right? Because he knows he's guilty. I mean, I feel like, look, I'm not, without trying to be politically correct, like looking at all the evidence, I'm inclined to say he's probably guilty.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you are guilty, your only defense then is to, instead of trying to prove yourself innocent, is to show how the people who are trying to convict you are compromised in some way, because then you remove the spotlight from yourself to them. That's why you try and get judges to recuse themselves and all this stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like it makes sense that that's the strategy, especially when you think about how it starts to elongate or prolong the process.
Yeah.
You add so much red tape. I mean, already cases take forever.
Yeah.
So when you add everything else, it could go on for 30 years, 3 decades.
Yeah. In one of his appeals just now, where he was appealing Tulima Donsela's state capture report, he now just got, they just struck that case off the roll, and they've charged him with all the legal costs, which are amount to 10 million. And he's already got 25 million in legal costs, bro. It's
that guy has, I feel like he has a plan.
He's 80 years old. I think I know his plan.
I think we all know what that plan is.
I think I know his plan.
Because I was sorry to cut you off, but I was talking to a friend about we're talking about DMX and how musicians, because I was like, okay, it's funny how musicians always, let's say someone like DMX, you go for so long without dropping new music, and I'm like, why aren't you dropping music? And then you pass away, or they drop a posthumous album, right? And then he told me, he was like, it's also a strategy, because you know that your music will feed your family. So sometimes holding on to that music sort of guarantees that if anything happens to you, your family will still be able to eat off this new music that the world hasn't heard before, and it's sort of guaranteed to sell. If you're not popping as much as you used to, your death will probably make you a little popular again. Your family can eat. So I feel like it's sort of similar strategies with politicians, where we're looking at the guy he must be convicted, whatever, but they're sometimes thinking ahead,
now Zuma literally can't afford to be convicted, because the Zuma name not being convicted helps guys like Duduzani. Now he's trying to run for president. There's so many things aligned to it, whereas when you taint it with somebody being convicted, a lot of benefits go away. I mean, I think Zuma is still being protected by the state, or should be, as a former president in some things. I know they've cut off his funding for his trials and all the court stuff, but they still technically are looking after him. Now, if you get convicted, there's a chance that those things fall away and the likes. I think it's a similar thing in America with Trump. Trump still has private security, even though he's living at his private residence in Mar-a-Lago, but as a former president, that comes with it. But one of the most interesting things about Zuma's appearance in court this past week is that his legal counsel was joined by a new surprising face, Dalimpof, who previously tweeted that Ace Magashule, translated, says, "We will follow Zuma no matter where he goes." And Dali replied, "That's a good idea because Zuma is going straight to jail." And today, Dali Mpofu is representing both Ace Magashule and Jacob Zuma, which is something that Prophet Julius Malema actually predicted.
Dali, we might wake up tomorrow, Dali representing Zuma. There's nothing the EFF can do about it. There's nothing the EFF can do about it.
But speaking of Julius Malema, he clearly had more important things to worry about this past week.
It's been a tough start to the fourth session of the 5th Pan-African Parliament. Since last week, heated debate over the presidency saw threats being exchanged by some members. Today, it became physical.
Go and sit down. Be too civilized to act in that manner. This is not good of you. It is not very well of you.
Hey bro, for me, politicians just keep showing us that like grown-ups are not, well, we are grown-ups, but like they are not really people to look up to. Like,
yeah, don't put them on a pedestal.
Yeah, don't put them on a pedestal. Yeah. But Julius Malema, as much as a politician, he seems to be an entertainer as well. I think some of these things is just doing it to like rally people up, get people talking.
Yeah, I agree, because I was watching something recently where this it's a series. It's called The Boys, and there was a moment in which this lady told someone, "You have followers, I have soldiers," and she was basically talking about the way they were both public figures, and she was saying the way they play politics is very different. The way she does it, he wants people to love him. She goes out and she gets people angry, and when she gets people angry, they act. Whereas people who are just like not complacent but content, are less likely to rise up and do stuff. So I feel like Julius employs the same tactics where he riles people up.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? I think
that's it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's an EFF tactic.
Yeah, and
to some extent, it does work.
Yeah, well, I think Julius is just a big baby, but staying with babies, DJ Dimples might be having a new baby. DJ Dimples might be having a baby, and I know we laugh, but apparently we should not be laughing, because DJ Dimples...
Nah, we're not supposed to laugh, bro.
DJ Dimple says he was raped by this 21-year-old that took advantage of him after he had a little bit too much to drink. He and a young lady apparently had unprotected sex on a night that DJ Dimples was super drunk. DJ Dimples has since laid charges of rape against this girl. Do you think a man can be raped, bro?
Yeah, definitely possible.
Yeah.
It's not... we feel like it's not a common thing, but it probably happens more than we realize. And it's just, because of the ideas of masculinity, most men probably won't admit it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. Whether that's the case here, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, this one is very interesting because according to the speculations and the rumors and what this girl has put out, they apparently slept together the night before and the morning after. And, it's weird because I totally agree. I think for this girl to continuously say how drunk this man was and then sleep with him, having unprotected sex, and eventually making a baby, it seems very rapey. It feels very rapey. If I had to liken it to the Lady Zamar case, when Java's fans would say, how does Java rape a girl he's dating, and how do they have sex and continue dating after he's raped her? I think that argument, which the people that said that were wrong, not to say whether Java was guilty or not, but incidents do happen, and because of attachment issues, because of various issues, people don't just walk away. Yeah. So, but DJ Dimple sleeping with this girl the previous night and in the morning, again, it does make the situation a bit confusing as to like really... Murky. Yeah, it makes it very murky, but damn, it's just... it's a lot to do.
Yeah, hey, look, we technically shouldn't be laughing because rape is a serious thing, But yeah, as you said, you can't really tell what actually happened. And hey man, it's not really our place. Like,
yeah,
they must sort their things out.
Yeah, but that being said, I think, you know, it shows that there's like a very big responsibility for our drinking that we need to take as a society.
True.
I mean, for stories like this to come out, obviously it's been taken more serious when it's the females, because they say rape, you know, rape is such a big deal, which it is. But now that it happened to a man, I think it opens an easier platform to talk about how much, like, you know, just excessive drinking and like just a very carefree attitude leads to so many like unwanted repercussions. And now, unfortunately, the unwanted thing is a baby.
It's a baby. A whole human being.
A whole human being, bro. Like, imagine if this baby actually does make it to the world and sees their existence being discussed on social media.
I mean, the internet is forever.
The internet is forever.
So it's very, very possible 15 years later,
Yeah.
like whenever the kid has a phone or whatever.
They're like, yo, my boy, do you see this is when they decided to keep you. Your mom wanted gym membership in exchange for your life. Imagine.
We laugh, but it's definitely hectic that such a casual encounter can lead to two people being bound together forever.
Exactly.
It's hectic. So yeah, it should definitely open up a platform to discuss these things. Man.
Yeah, exactly, bro. So yeah, dude, yeah, it is forever. But one thing that isn't forever is Gavin Hunt's employment at Kaizer Chiefs. After leading Kaizer Chiefs to their worst finish in so many years, Gavin Hunt has been sacked by the Kaizer Chiefs management. Last year, Kaizer Chiefs finished second in the log behind Sundowns. And they fired their coach, and now they're like, I think 10th or 12th in the log. Jeez. Yeah, which goes to show when you finish second to a blesser, you must just accept it. Like, don't go beat yourself up and go make changes to your personality. Just be like, it's fine.
Just take the L.
Just take the L.
Improve.
You
know, work on yourself. Come back stronger.
Come back stronger, bro. As funny as that is, it's the same situations in England. Manchester United finished second. They're celebrating. They finished second to Manchester City. A blesser is a blesser.
Yeah, bro. You must understand where you are in comparison to these other teams. Man United knows where they've been in the past few years. Exactly. I feel like number 2 is worth celebrating. Yeah. Now you just need to work to the next goal.
Exactly.
Man City, bro. They've been blessing.
Exactly. The guys, that blesser thing was a joke. Don't take no else to no blessers. Yeah, and that is the end of the show, guys. Do stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and tell a friend about it. We're still shooting at 3 Campbell Road right here in Craigavon, 4 ways. So do join us at Team Coffee. Also, do drop a comment and tell us what you guys think about the Zweli Mkhize and Digital Vibe situation. Is it exactly the same as Ace Makashule? And should Zweli Mkhize be asked to step aside? Or should we wait for the SIU to investigate and find out what they uncover? Till next week, cheers.